We will fight for the foe, for the good old black and gold. We're the Tigers from old Bannockburn. Come the day, come what may.
Saturday morning we look forward to the Colts segment. And here he is, Alex Tagani. Good morning, Alex.
Morning, Dick. The Corio Football Club has just won their 10th game in a row, so they've come a long way in the Colts. We caught up with their acting captain in Harley Luscombe, as well as his Anarchy opponent in Bailey Ettridge. There's a lot of star power in the Anarchy Football Club, and that's proven to be the case since they've returned to Division 3 football. Now, week 1 of finals, we have an interleague star here in Bailey. Tell us how the boys' season's gone.
Oh, it's pretty good. Like, we've stuck together all year, and yeah, teamwork's good, but had to build up from the start. Obviously, you're losing the coach start of the year, but yeah, no, they're doing really well, and yeah, hopefully get a win today.
Yep. Players in your side, obviously you've got a few credentials yourself, having played X amount of senior games by the age of 17. Who else is there to look forward to in the Roos lineup?
Oh, Alex Edward kills it every week. Ilya, can't say his last name, but he kills it as well. Little Lockie Cameron, he's played a few senior games, and yeah, he does well. Nick Fairchild just come back from injury, broken his wrist, and he's played senior games and does well on the forward line. So yeah, hopefully we get a good win today.
Obviously, the Anarchy supporters are out here in force this morning. You got the banner ready to go for your Colts. What would the premiership mean, not only to the club, but to the whole community of Anarchy?
Oh, it'd mean heaps. Like, we haven't really had an under-18s team that have done well for ages, and yeah, to win a flag would just be unreal.
Yep. Well, it would also be unreal for a side that hasn't won a Colts flag in 20 years. Harley, I'm not too sure if you were born in 1995 when the last Colts premiership took place, but tell us, 9 wins in a row, you've defeated every side in the division. Something must be going right at Corio.
Well, we started off pretty shocking this year, but like our sides just came together pretty good. Like, the boys have gotten stronger together, better to know each other and stuff like that. So the better you know each other, the better you play together. And I reckon that's what we've all done. So.
First half of the season, you lost Lockie Hayes, you went to North Geelong for Division 2, and then you lost BJO to Toole to East Geelong. At that time, were there any doubts whether you guys could contend for another grand final?
There was a few doubts at the start, like when that all happened. The coach was a bit down and out, so were all the boys because we're all mates with them all, but in the end it all worked out, so we've been looking up since then. So.
Yep. And just yourself, 2 senior games, been very handy, but another bloke that's been playing a few senior games is your original skipper for the Colts, Jamie Grace. Why can't I see him in the warm-up?
He's injured himself last week at work, so shot a nail through his foot.
All right.
So, yeah.
Well, there's your GDFL footy show exclusive there. We've got a big game of Colts and a big final series in general. Thanks for joining us, gentlemen. Thanks to that, boys. Now, Corio will play off against the ladder leaders, Port Arlington, later this morning. Actually, very close. I better go soon. And after that, tomorrow, we, of course, will see St Joseph's 2 take on Anarchy, who you just saw in the highlights. And, Dick, that's Colts for this week.
Thanks, Alex. And of course, Alex will be back again next Saturday morning talking about all the action on this weekend. Well, I said we had a very special guest on the show, and this man comes with a lot of credentials. He is from the North Geelong Fabulous Magpies, and it's Jeff Zykoski. G'day, Jeff. How you going, mate?
Hey, guys. How you going? Yeah, doing well. Thanks for having me.
Saturday morning, mate, and it's all happening again. Now, I'm going to read out some of your credentials, mate. I've done a bit of research about you.
Okay.
Now, I know you're coaching in the junior academy for the GDFL, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
That's a pretty big thing there. And you've taken on a role with the GDFL to have the younger players in our competition more noticed by the Falcons.
Yep.
Fantastic there. You coached the North Geelong Magpies under-18s to a flag last year.
I sure did, yeah.
I've never forgotten that one. That was only me and my dry cleaner knew how close that got it there. And of course the under-16s flag, you got that 2 years ago for the club.
2009.
2009.
It's a while back now.
Never talked to the president. He gave me the info. He's got the years wrong. That's okay. And of course now you're one of the assistant coaches at North Geelong. It's like a panel, and finding the season pretty intense and obviously disappointing last Saturday.
Yeah, definitely. We obviously knew Inverleigh were pretty good. On the flip side of that, we would have liked to thought we'd done the right things and come in with the right game plan. Without making excuses, we probably finished with some really high scoring results and made ourselves feel pretty good about where we were at against a few of the sides we came home against. And the beauty about finals is it's a good leveler, and the good thing about the top 3 or 4 in the comp this year being so strong is if you're not on your game, you find out pretty quick, and we most certainly did.
You've got your assistant coaches, there's a couple of others of you.
Yep.
And then you throw in the ruck coaches and the forward coaches and the backline coaches. Who makes all the decisions? Does Keezy get a word in?
No, it's pretty straightforward. So there's Daniel Key, who's the coach, and he's obviously a playing coach. James Chandler's his assistant coach, who's also a playing coach. Daniel Gibbs is basically the head assistant who makes the calls off the bench. I do the rotations, have an input on selection, and Rod Boothroyd looks after the forwards, has an input on selection. So that's not as confusing as it sounds. They're pretty straightforward.
Jeff, question from me. You know, you said that you had some big results that made you feel pretty good about yourselves towards the end of the year. Wouldn't you have thought that last year's result in the grand final would have made you think that maybe it's not as easy as we think it is, and that's, you know, I was bitterly disappointed in North Geelong's effort on Saturday. Not so much the effort to play the game, but I just rate them very, very highly, and I know Inverleigh are a very good side, but I just thought you were very disappointing on that big ground.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and that's a very fair comment. Without making excuses, we have a new coach this year, which means there's a new game plan and a new system in place. Into this year's side, we've probably got 3, 4 or maybe 5 guys that are teenagers or up to the age of 20 that have come into the side, and as I said, that coupled with a brand new game plan, and yeah, obviously, you know, the under-18s premiership, few of those guys are getting a run and all that sort of stuff. We recruited a couple of young guys as well. Tommy Matheson's only 20 years old, and those factors coupled together, it means, yes, last year was painful, and yes, it is relevant to what we're doing moving forward, but this year's group and the way this year has come along, it can only be based on this year, because it has been a new game plan, and even Daniel Key is finding his feet as a coach. So again, no excuses. Excuses are no good in football, but it's more a shorter term picture than some people are liking to think. You know, this group hasn't been together for 4 years as last year's group has. This year is a bit newer and fresher, and we will have some really good up days, like when we beat Inverleigh out there this year, which I think was an absolute cracking effort by us, a really gutsy effort out there. And then we will have some down days, like early in the year we were beaten by a very good Thompson side, and days like Saturday where maybe we didn't have everything put together right for the day, and I think that was pretty easy for everyone to see from the side.
Just one more quick one from me. On the big ground, there's more one-to-one, you know, one-on-one footy, and you know, if I've got a criticism of North Geelong, I think they're a very, very good side. To me, they run forward of the ball very, very well, and I don't know whether they run as hard in defence as they should. Is that a worry for you? Do you have to change, have to adjust a little bit on Saturday to beat Bannockburn, do you think?
Yeah, again, as I said, with finals being the great leveller and playing on St Albans being a great leveller, we obviously have an offensive factor to our game plan. That's pretty clear. That's me not giving away too many secrets there. We believe in taking the game on and trying to score as quickly as possible and move the ball as quickly as possible. However, I think we learnt the lesson. As I said, new group, new game plan, learnt the lesson pretty strongly this Saturday that our defence is nowhere near where it needs to be, and we'll endeavour to do everything we can to get it to that level. Otherwise, we're going to be bowing out pretty quickly.
Okay. Just one positive, I suppose, you can get out of your last fortnight has been Charlie Farrell. You and me have talked on this show about him for almost, 24 months, but his profile under your work as a GDFL junior with the Geelong Falcons, I'm not too sure how many TAC Cup games he's played, but has that opened the doors for the next generation of GD players?
Well, I think if you look at this year in terms of talking at the Falcons, Darcy Parish is obviously going to get drafted and looked at being in probably the top 5 according to most analysts. Joel Bennett went there from the Cry Football Club, is another player I recommended who's played every single game this year bar one with a quad injury, he wasn't dropped. Charlie, as a small player, competes against there's only probably room for 3 people of his size in the side, and he's maintained that maybe 14 out of 18 weeks. So those 3 guys, it's not just Charlie alone, those 3 guys have really given an awesome account of GDFL footy and the talented stocks we have around the league. And the way he's a super passionate club person, and it was just special to have him perform the way he did in the senior side Saturday, even though he was let down by some more mature senior guys, but his performance was second to none. He was fantastic.
Interestingly enough, before the Falcons come into play, there was more GDFL footballers played league football than there was GFL footballers. So there is a talent base there if they're looked at properly, and people like yourself, Jeff, that bring them on. There's no doubt that there's a lot of talent in the GDFL in the junior ranks for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Jeff, thanks very much for coming in Saturday morning, mate. I know you've got a very big weekend coming up, and tomorrow as well, of course, when we're back at the St Albans Reserve. But thanks for coming in. All the best for the Magpies for the rest of the finals series, mate.
Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for having me.
Good on you, mate. Jeff Tchaikovsky, who is the assistant coach, or one of the panel of coaches on the North Geelong Magpies bench. We're going to take a break, come back and talk about the action on this afternoon and the big game on tomorrow as well. Back after this.
We're the North Boys